you've been an employee of this organization for how long now?
4.5 years.
And how many people have you seen walk through the doors? And is there a small percentage that you haven't helped, a large percentage that you have? I know it's kind of like the same question in reverse, but...
There have been numerous people who walk through this door, and I've not seen one walk through this door, follow the protocols, and not be helped. Every single one who has an interest in getting better, who follows the protocols, definitely gets better, sees improvements, and goes on to tell others. Most all of our patients come from referrals.
Lynn, you mentioned that you had been to many other doctors in the past before you came to integrated medicine. In your opinion, what's the difference between other doctors and the type of treatment you receive from the doctors here?
One of the biggest differences that I notice with like my hip pain and the fibromyalgia and the fibromatosis, that none of the doctors actually palpated to feel what was going on, with the exception of the chiropractor. They would just write a prescription or send me for physical therapy. Even at physical therapy, they never felt to see what was going on.
Well, what was going on when you said palpitated?
To feel like I had lots of lumps that were also causing a lot of pain and interfering and myofascial trigger points, but they never knew about them because they never felt them. Like I would just tell them about them, and I would even tell them, you know, I had these bumps under my skin, you know, they're painful, and I was told, oh, you know, they're probably just cysts, you get them as you get older, don't worry about it.
Why is that the case? Why do you think? Is it that they're too busy, or they're afraid to touch you in a certain way, or do they find solutions through the pen and the prescription?
I think it's easy for them to write a prescription, and I think that they haven't taken the time to learn how to do that. You know, and when you come to integrated medicine, you know, we're here to treat every area and to check out and actually see what's going on and to feel, not just listen and send you somewhere else. You know, one of the other things that Dr. Verghese did that really made a difference is he helped me to understand and see what was going on emotionally and spiritually and socially, because with everything that was going on, I didn't have an interest of going out of the house or spending time fellowshipping with anybody, and keeping away from everybody actually just made things worse because there wasn't anybody to help bring me up. There wasn't that fellowship that the Bible talks about, that God tells us to encourage one another, and if you're not around someone, you can't be encouraged. So
that's interesting. You know, I got to tell you, I'm going to be 50 this April, and in all my years, all the doctors I've seen, I don't think a doctor has ever asked me, how are you spiritually? You know, how are you emotionally? Or if it was an emotional thing, they would write me a prescription and say, here, and then I become dizzy. Stop taking it after 2 pills. But no one's ever asked me, how are you spiritually? I guess something that's not taught in the traditional medical colleges, or they're afraid to ask. But I guess that's the difference between integrated medicine here, the whole, versus the parts of other schools of thought.
Right. That is a big difference here, is that the spiritual is included because it is part of the human body. It's part of how God made us, and you can't separate that from the other parts and have someone become whole and healthy.
Good. Is there anything that you would like to tell the viewers that we haven't asked you? Anything you want to say?
I just think that when people are struggling and they don't know where to turn, that this clinic is an excellent place to come for answers. That the other thing is that there aren't clinics like this around, and one of the visions, one of the dreams is to have a large center where more people can come and get treatment. And there are people that actually we have to turn away from the clinic because we can't treat them because the facility doesn't have everything we need here. Their cases are too severe, or we're just too booked. We don't have enough space to help everybody. So if we have a larger center with more doctors and more therapists and staff, and integrate with other types of doctors and refer in and out with other doctors to help people in all areas, then more people will be served and more healing will come about.
And if I may add, our goal is integrated medicine, meaning to provide the best care available and bring it to the patient and make the patient well, including, as Tom mentioned, combining all aspects of a person, and as Lynn pointed out too, all the various components that we don't even know about. We know only about 5 components, and there are other components involved in a patient care. And often it comes as we share our mind, body, soul, spirit resources with that person that you are caring for. And the healing spontaneously takes place. And that might make a difference even when we go to some other places for care. If you have people like that who go beyond their own self because they realize when God's power becomes a source in their life as they serve people, hurting people, then healing takes place. And so when we share with you, and especially as I'm sharing with you, that is one of my desires, to become more and more like that particular healer that I described. It is not just a metaphor for healing, but it is a personal involvement in the life of another human being that God created and loves. So that makes a big difference.